Welcome everyone to this final conversation on all of this Shenmue controversy that I've been going over the past couple weeks. This is going to be like my final hoorah because I've talked about a couple of large YouTubers regarding their comments and where I agreed or disagreed, mostly disagreed, with their opinions on the Shenmue franchise because basically I felt they didn't really know much. They were just taking advantage of the controversy. Did I take advantage of the controversy? Sure, I definitely did. I saw on one of my videos there was a comment where like, hey, you're taking advantage of this controversy, and I totally was. Controversy creates attention, and attention sometimes can bring in a positive when it comes to getting more eyes on the product. So I definitely wanted to ride that wave of attention, but I'm not leaving Shenmue behind. I'm definitely putting it in the forefront, and that's why I took advantage. But unlike those other Shenmue reports from those big YouTubers, I'm not leaving the franchise alone. I'm sticking with it with you guys. So thank you, Oregon Pacifist, Andrew, Samian, and everyone else joining live. And then, of course, I'll re-upload this later. But we're going to talk about Shenmue fans, and specifically the angry Shenmue fans. Now, what I want to say to start this off, and I'll get to the comments. I want to catch up to everyone's comments too. But I had started off with thinking what really defines a Shenmue fan and what defines like a hardcore Shenmue fan. And it's important because everybody's opinion of what a Shenmue fan is different. I don't think I've ever met one person that agrees 100% on what their definition of a Shenmue fan is, let alone any other type of fan. And I think it's disrespectful to say you're not a Shenmue fan or that you are a Shenmue fan or what makes a difference. But I'm going to give my perspective on when I say like hardcore Shenmue fans. I'm going to refer to this specific description, and I'm not going to disclude anyone, especially those who are angry about the controversy, and say that they're a less fan or not a fan at all. But when I say like either hardcore or a true Shenmue fan, this means that I'm talking about a particular type of fan. And that type of fan is someone who's been with the franchise or recognizes the franchise for either a long time or played the early HD releases of 1 and 2 and wanted to see the series continue because they fell in love with the series by any means necessary. Basically, there are a lot of fans out there, including myself, that didn't care if the game would be made as much as just wanting to hear what happens in the story. Just want to know what happens next. Of course, we prefer the game, but just to get something out of what happens to Rio and what happens to Lan Di and all the other characters, that is what, to me, is a true fan in the context of this conversation. However, if you like the franchise, if you want to see the franchise continue, you're a fan in my eyes, even if you barely know anything about it. So that's my opinion. Let's see, Legendary Gamer says that's a real Shenmue fan. That's a real Shenmue fan plays the game even if it's going to be on Epic. Yeah, that's definitely it. I mean, there's tons of definitions of Shenmue fans, but in my opinion, you like the franchise, you're included. But when I'm talking about real fans, I'm talking about those that waited and want this game to come out, which it is in November. Make sure you either purchase your copy or tell your friends about it. We need to spread the word. So, Shenmue fans, there has been a lot of anger with particular Shenmue fans. And let me just hit this over here. I've broken down, and I've read a lot because I've gotten a lot of comments in my previous couple of videos and videos that I've seen of other YouTube creators and what they usually get. And I'm pretty much revealing what that hatred usually revolves around, or dislike, or anger. So one of the top comments that I usually see is, they don't like Epic. Epic has this unfortunate reputation of getting games like the Metro series and making it exclusive on their platform. And that is something that angers traditional PC fans that feel that they can just play a game on the PC and not have to worry about like old school console wars. You just get everything on PC. So for a long time, Steam has been the main player when it comes to bringing all your games into one easy to use platform that lets you just pick what you want to play and play it, like a launcher. But I don't know if you guys remember this. Many years ago, I think it was either XP or it might have been in the launch of Windows 7 if you're a PC gamer, which most of us would be. Um, Windows 7 had its own gaming platform that you could kind of put together. And then, of course, there is a gaming platform that still exists on the latest operating system of Windows 10 that you can use them as a launcher. There are many different types of launchers. The Uplay launcher for Ubisoft games. And everyone doesn't like to launch different launchers. They want to use Steam because Steam has, I guess, one of the most largest libraries of games that you could just one-stop shop and hit it. So for Epic to try to join that game as late as they are, and their interface and configuration is a bit imperfect, to say the least. It, along with rumored like bugs and like glitches that it has, and possible hacking of your information that goes through Epic, which obviously wouldn't be necessarily purposely done. That's just something that has to get worked on through the development of that software. You have that growing pain, but one that wants to be a competitor to Steam has to make investments and has to make sacrifices into their software so that they can get one up on the competition. That is from charging less prices or lower prices to developers to actually have their games on Epic, to unfortunately getting these exclusivity deals, which is a tactic that Nintendo did in the 80s. When you wanted that Nintendo seal of approval and you wanted to be on a Nintendo console, at least in the US market, you were not permitted to have that game launch on a competing console, such as the Sega Master System. Which is why when I was growing up and I had the Sega Master System, I was pretty frustrated that I couldn't get a lot of games that were exclusively on Nintendo. Anyway, moving on. There's a lot of hatred over Deep Silver's relationship with Epic because Deep Silver seems to partner a lot with Epic and then give them these exclusivity deals a lot easier. And since Deep Silver's involved with Shenmue, that in turn makes everything just seem evil corporation style. So, moving on, backers of pre-order content. So, as you guys should know, there's a lot of anger in the fact that pre-order content is exclusive to, well, not exclusive, but you would have to pay up for that pre-order content regardless if you invested in the Kickstarter. Now, there is exclusive Kickstarter backer content, which I'll show you later, that any backer from the Slacker backer or the Kickstarter campaigns that you're getting just for you. But apparently that's not enough because it's like, hey, if I invested $1,000, why can't I also get that bonus content? In my opinion, and my response to that is, if you invested $1,000 in Shenmue and you can't afford another couple bucks just to get bonus content, then there's something wrong there. Let me catch up to the comments here for a quick second. Interesting information. Jupiter Jacket does look amazing. Yes, a lot of the features, especially I've seen that they've completed the artwork. They've completed a lot of they just need to print it, but they completed a lot of the stuff for the backers. The little capsule toys are pretty much legit, and they have the lucky hit stands with backers' faces. Come on, like, you're getting a lot. So anyway, let's move on. So There's also PC Epic Disk is just an installer for Epic Games software and not the actual game. Now, this in particular, especially if you order the PC version, only getting the Epic installer, I wouldn't be pleased with that. It's and I'll tell you why. It's the fact that you want the game to always work forever. I mean, a lot of these games I have always within arm's reach. You know, the Shenmue games. If I want to play this classic Shenmue 2 PAL version, all I have to do, I mean, it's still a little bit of effort, but all I have to do is whip out my Dreamcast, have the loader disc first before I pop in one of these, because it's not, I have the NTSC version of the Dreamcast and this is the PAL version of the game, so I have to load it with that. But then I can play it, and I have my VMUs, I have all the stuff that I need. I can do that. But with a computer, it's kind of different, because when you travel through 5-10 years down the road and you get a new PC, and let's say unfortunately Epic Games completely just doesn't work anymore, and you want to get that game, and you or you don't have internet and you want to play the game, and you pop in the disc and you have to have internet to download the entire game, or even downloading the game when you have low bandwidth, and the game at least shows still on the website, I don't know what the final count is, but over 100 gigs of game download to install, and you are not getting it on a disc. You'd have to download that. How long would it take to download such a large game if you have no internet? And that's just, or if you have slow internet. But if you have no internet, you don't even get the game. That could be frustrating. And that decision, I'm not angry over it. It's just kind of one of those things that's kind of like, oh, that stinks. I'm still getting the game. Understand why they had to do that. But it is upsetting. So, bad handling of public relations. Now, this is something that's been, and I'll show you a little bit of footage going forward. The public relations from the get-go has been horrendous, unfortunately. And that has to do with, in my opinion, with the company that's handling the public relations not having really a clue on how users would react. I believe whoever handles at least this campaign is inexperienced when it comes to dealing with these Kickstarter updates. They don't know how fans would actually react to this every little change that we're dealing with. And that's unfortunate, because due to their lack of experience, it's almost hurting the brand. Actually, really is hurting the brand with all these decisions. The decisions had to be made, but there is a way to communicate that to your audience, to your backers, to everyone, without sounding fake or sounding oblivious to the fact that we're supporters and that we have common sense when it comes to industry decisions. So I could kind of understand that, but it's unfortunate. And then there are other miscellaneous anger comments towards the project and their evil corporations. So we're going to get right to it. I wasn't going to bore you with a PowerPoint presentation for the whole time. But let's catch up to the comments once again. How many discs would they need? If it was 100 gigabytes, I would assume, I mean, the best decision that they would do when it comes to that is either, if you're going to do discs, do multiple Blu-rays, and you would need a dual layer Blu-ray is 50 gigs. So you'd need 2, maybe 3 dual layer Blu-rays. And multiple disc Shenmue games is not something uncommon. The first Shenmue and the second Shenmue for Dreamcast was on multiple discs. So it would almost kind of be nostalgic to do that. Andrew says, yeah, I pledged about $300 and getting some pretty cool stuff. I had no problem pre-ordering 2 more copies from GameStop. I plan to do that anyway. I want the mirrors. And then Oregon says, Red X508, they would only need like 13 DVDs to install Shenmue 3 on PC. Yeah, that's probably true. So anyway, let's get this kicked off. Now, the way I want to kind of move forward is I'm going to jump to the previous videos that I posted, or at least the last video that I posted, and scroll through the comments. There were specific comments that I didn't like heart or anything like that, because, well, they were negative, but also it makes it easier for me to just kind of scroll down and find them. And if there are any new comments that I didn't heart that are not derogatory, I might stop on those because I didn't see them. But it'll be my way to filter out and really pull out what these comments were and then give a response. And if you guys have a response to any of these comments as well. But the point is that you'll find that a lot of comments, that, at least that I've seen, don't have any substance. And that's the issue. But if they do have substance, I really want to understand why so many are so angry. I mean, I could understand some of these make you uncomfortable. I totally get that. And myself too. I can't deny that some of these decisions, especially the PC disc situation, makes it uncomfortable, but not to the point where I'm like, give me a refund. That I can't understand that. That makes no sense to me. Anyway, let's get this going. So I'm gonna pull up my. Where is my mouse? All right, pull up the. All right, so this was the video where I spoke on the quartering. And the quartering and basically explaining the money situation. This was posted on my channel, Personal Magnus. And again, I'm going to skip the heart ones because most people, at least on my channel, are positive and they kind of get the situation. They watch my video, they feel the same way I do, and those voices are just making themselves be heard. So I appreciate everyone to comment on the videos and really make their voices heard. So let's scroll down quick. See? All right, this Negative Zero Network said, so you're telling me that they made $6 million from backers at Kickstarter alone, plus extra money from those companies mentioned in your video. Meanwhile, they promise the game on Steam to backers and sold to Epic Games and don't expect backlash? Are you a moron or what? So immediately he kind of loses me by saying you're a moron because it's ridiculous to insult people. Lastly, yes, this game was made for hardcore fans of the franchise, not really for profit, as you mentioned in your video. That blew my mind. How could someone assume that a company that makes video games for sale does not want to make profit? It made no sense to me. Absolutely no sense to me. This was just... So I did write him back because I wanted a response. I said, one, anyone who put their money down when the Kickstarter survey went out was never promised a Steam version. We expected it to be on Steam, but it was never promised, only mentioned in surveys. Epic Games didn't even exist when the Kickstarter campaign was live. I wrote live, but I meant live. Number two, yes, made for hardcore fans. And you know what my definition of hardcore fans is. I explained it. People who just want the franchise. But they're not a non-for-profit video game company. I'm not sure if anything like that even exists. Doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And then I addressed his moron comment. Am I a moron? I am to you whatever you think. You have the right to your opinion, but when you insult someone, it dilutes the true message of what you're trying to say. But I still pay attention to outside opinions. It's how we understand each other. I think everyone has a right to opinion, except when you start insulting or saying, are you crazy, or something like that. No, you're just not going to get through to me when you distract me with that. I just splashed water in my face. It's getting a little thirsty commenting this much. Okay, so moving on. Tarnish. why does everyone have a negative name that leaves negative comments? And apparently, Shenmue fans don't understand trust, the very thing Kickstarter operates on. Trusting that for money, the project creators delivers what they promised in the campaign. When the Kickstarter campaign ran, the Epic Store was not even a thing, which is true. So it was obvious Steam would be the logical platform, and people pledged based upon that. So he starts off with saying that we didn't get what we were promised, which is, you could look at the archives. I don't think that there's anything that I was promised that I'm not getting. Even if I wanted a PC version, they promised a PC physical disc. And it's somewhat trickery, but they never promised to actually have the game on the disc. So, and then people expecting it to be on Steam because Steam's the only thing that existed. That's of a bit of a ridiculous statement. What if they never wanted to work with Steam and just sent everyone a disc if they wanted it on PC, or had their own website to download? There are games that just, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5, when you download Grand Theft Auto 5, you could add the launcher to Steam, but technically you're in their server. You're using their whole launcher and everything like that. So Shenmue could have done the same thing. And I'm sure, and I'll test it to be sure, that using Steam, I could take the launcher from Shenmue and just load it into Steam and then have it, because that Steam allows you to do that, and then just launch it from Steam anyway. That's just a guess, but of course I'd have to test to be able to do that. So what else does he say? I hope that Epic money was worth it for them, because after the last minute platform switch, not giving the promised physical PC games, just useless game store installer discs, and using the usual scummy AAA monetization tactics, which is pre-order bonuses, season pass, so that even people who pledge $10,000 won't get a complete game. They're going to have a hard time getting probably half as much money on another crowdfunding campaign. Again, if you pay $10,000, really it's going to hurt you to pay a little bit more for the bonus content. And as I explained in this video, there's a reason that bonus content is being sold for the success and profitability of this game to continue the franchise. So it makes sense. But as far as a clear argument, I'm not seeing anything besides being mad about the installer. And if that's enough to give you a refund, then take your money. Take your money back. I don't see it, again, to each his own, but I don't see it as a worthy argument for why you should be so angry. And I feel tricked. Perhaps they should have done an action of a Kickstarter developed game and all of this controversy would be non-existent. They need to make money, but the ones that gave money felt like they got ripped off. No. I gave money, I don't feel like I got ripped off. If I gave $1 million to this campaign, I still wouldn't feel like I got ripped off. None of us even have what we get when the actual game comes out. But when the game comes out, I'm going to post exactly what I get to my Twitter, and I'm going to say, look at all I got from Shenmue. So, and we're getting more of a game than we expected, because we only funded it to a certain level, but now we're getting even more than what we thought we paid for. So, would you have rather not done a deal with Epic, get less of a game with no bonus content? Or get what you're getting with additional bonus content being created because they could afford it? Again, I don't feel ripped off. I feel like they did the right thing. Alright, let's look at the comments. What do we have here? The market isn't using Windows 10 Store nearly as much as Steam. Microsoft also didn't offer payola. That's very true. What else? Gabriel, trust is important. Trust is definitely important, because you're seeing the repercussions in a lot of angry fans who feel that their trust was broken, which is unfortunate. Okay, moving on to these comments. Again, a lot were positive, but the few negative ones, because I've already reached the end of it, most comments were so positive. So to me, that was awesome. Even Star, how much did you pledge, Magnus? On my video, on this actual video, it showed that I pledged $100, but actually I increased that pledge because I wanted to get a little bit more. So I think I'm at the $170 mark of money, just under $200. I would have given more, but I think that was that limit before investing crazy amounts of money, which I couldn't do, but enough to get everything that I wanted. So I'm going to get like the color printout stuff and then everything below that, which is awesome. Can't wait. All right, so Minzy421. Last time, I'm not here to make a name or just for clicks. Here we are a week later attacking another YouTuber just to make a name for clicks. This douche tuber is really on the defensive right now. For some reason, this comment, again, when someone insults you, you lose you lose focus on the message. But this douche tuber was the first time I ever seen that word, and it made me crack up for a good 5 minutes the first time I saw that comment, which was hilarious. Douche tuber. So let me see if I replied. Did I reply? Yeah, I said douche tuber. LOL, good one. Then Sylvia BO wrote, happens when you're in denial and just want to protect the name itself. This guy talking straight BS over 10 minutes and acts like he knows something about the business when he really don't. Pathetic. Okay, I guess I'm talking BS for over 10 minutes and I know nothing about the business, but yet these two arguments explained nothing on defending the industry and don't do anything to add context to the conversation. So they were just wasted space, in my opinion. But all in all, I didn't see a single comment here that actually convinced me or convinced me more of why anyone would be angry, except for the discs. Anyone who spoke about the PC discs, I kind of got it. And I woke up to that. Like, yeah, that totally makes sense. So, moving on. My video was also posted on Shenmue Fans. That's the secondary channel. You should definitely subscribe to Shenmue Fans to stay up to date on multiple creators that collaborate on this channel to, of course, add more notoriety and get that Shenmue word out there. Sometimes I slow down with what I'm trying to say because I'm like, what do I want to say? So, again, no script for this. I'm just going off of you guys. So, this channel had a lot more negativity towards, because of course it has more exposure. So, someone wrote Brickster000, I'm enjoying the live stream if you know what I'm saying. Apparently, this is kind of weird, but apparently, person who I was talking about, the quartering in this video, which I can just kind of forward. This dude. So the quartering, he had a live stream which was taken down. I don't know what was said, and I have no records of this live stream or what he was talking about. But this one comment, I'm enjoying the live stream if you know what I'm saying, leads me to believe that he had a live stream. And I have no evidence of this, so don't take my word for it. It's just my speculation. He had a live stream and he addressed me. And I don't know what he said in particular, but the quartering, if you're watching this, which somehow I doubt, because I doubt you even care about this franchise or anything that you had to say about it after you just moved on and no longer care, well, we're here to pick up the pieces about a franchise that we care about. But since you don't have the guts to address me and leave that video up, I'm going to tell you something. Again, only speculation. But you already made a video on Shenmue and moved on, so I can still tell you this with conviction. What you had to say had pretty much shown me that you did not care at all about this franchise or knew little to nothing about it. And someone who knows little to nothing about what they're talking about, they just read articles and move on, to me doesn't have respect. doesn't have my respect. If you show me that you actually know what you're talking about, have done your research, then we can talk. But you're trying to defend one side of the story without knowing why they're so angry. You can defend angry fans, but you've got to also share their passion. And I share the passion of those who are angry, because if you're angry, you have reasons. I may not understand it completely, but heck, I'm having this live stream to let your voices out as well. But I'm also here to be the voice of the voiceless, of those that care about the franchise. Obviously something that you don't care about at all. So when it comes to this live stream that you deleted, if it had anything to do with me, tell me what you said. But it was deleted, and I don't even know if he said anything. So that's my comments to that. I'm not trying to start beef. I'm just trying to give my opinion, just like everyone else is here. Let's move on from that. So during 1804, they didn't lose any money by not asking for more money. They never had that money to begin with. You're assuming a sale. If the franchise needs your help to survive, that pretty much tells you what you need to know. Good comment. I agree. They need your help. They don't have the money, and they're going to do what it takes. I understand it, but I see some people agreed. So here's Charles Sammy. Wow, he had a lot to say. So let's kind of sum it up. He's like, I want Epic Store to fix their ways in general. Stop pulling the carpet from under us. They killed his favorite FPS game. As for Shenmue 3, please don't repeat the same mistake you did with Shenmue 3. YSNet, being transparent to your backers, what matters the most for all of us. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Moving on, it really is the communication that unfortunately has been detrimental to the franchise. And that's frustrating too. You know, it's annoying that the PR team can't get it right. So I'll look at like 2 or 3 comments, then go to you guys, and then I'm going to move on with this topic, because I think we're all getting a message. We're either getting the same arguments, or we're just getting people who just angry and have nothing productive to say. Charlie Cat, this is one reason why I never participate in donating money on video game projects. When you have controversies like this and it turns into a fiasco. I never was a backer for Shenmue 3 because I felt something was amiss. It was too good to be true. If a game eventually debuts officially, then I'll spend the funds to do so. In the meanwhile, money saved in my account. I don't get what his fear of controversy is. That's kind of weird. Not weird. It's just doesn't make sense to me. You're not donating because of fear of controversy. What's so scary about controversy? Eric Bischoff, former vice president of WCW and worked in WWE, currently works in WWE, once held a TED Talk. I can't speak. He once held a TED Talk, and he said many times in many interviews, controversy creates cash. And in this particular case, I'm hoping that it creates more cash and more attention when the franchise is launched. So all this negative attention could put more eyes on the product and then hopefully make it successful. Who knows, maybe the PR team was trying to do that to get more eyes on it. I doubt that though. So, alright, I'm going to see if I find one more comment that is negative that I can relate to. Okay, so Franco Pan, this franchise needs our help to survive. Good luck. You want us to give more? All the bad PR is YSNet's fault. Lack of good communication and good feedback to the backers. They sold Steam version and switched to another store without explanations. No, they never promised Steam version. They had surveys, but they never promised a Steam version. And they always let you know that things are subject to change. That's always been... if the game changes completely and launches on Xbox One and not PS4, guess what? They never, ever said that they were going to launch on Xbox One. Now, they won't do that, but they never said that they would. But if they switched to Xbox One, you'll have a lot of people happy over the switch to Xbox One because they don't have to buy a PS4. And you'll have everyone on PS4 frustrated. But these items are subject to change, and that's been pretty much said since day one. Granted, it can still make you frustrated, but I don't think an Epic versus Steam case is a situation you need to pay attention to, because you honestly don't have to spend money to launch Epic. You have your same computer, you just download another free installer, and that's so much trouble for you guys. I can understand frustration, but for me personally, I really don't. So, the PR is YSNet's fault. Kinda is, but that in itself, it's frustrating that it's not working out the way it should. And then, if YSNet did your explanation before, they might be understood by the community. I mean, I'm not one of those people who are shouting out on the web, I ordered PS4 copies, so now I don't have anything to complain about. Okay. But from a consumer perspective, not good. PR was not good. But at the same time, those that have to read into the PR, like me and others, when you look at what actually is going on and you understand the gaming industry, you can see why it's not a bad thing. It really isn't. It's just bad. Unfortunate way of handling PR. That's what I'd want to say. Thank you, him. I appreciate the compliment. So let me go to a couple of compliments here, what I've been missing. This is what I feel about the whole situation, says Gabriel. It feels as if YSNet cared about the money more than they cared about their fans and backers. I need to stop drinking. They cared about money. But if you think that they didn't care about their backers, why would Yu Suzuki even care about making this franchise if it wasn't over 14 years of fans? When are you going to make Shenmue 3? When are you going to make Shenmue 3? He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to go back to a franchise that was initially unsuccessful and not profitable for Sega at all. They lost a ton of money on that franchise. Why would he go back to it and say, rather than lean towards create a new IP or lean towards an IP that already makes money, he's going back to a franchise that has no guarantee to make money. Why? Because he's interested in making money, or he's interested in finishing what he started with Shenmue. And yes, they messed up, but he cares. He honestly cares. You know, that team, from what I've heard, is working insane amount of hours to get this thing done. More than most common 8-hour shifts that other people would do. They're well beyond that just to get this game done. And that's how the gaming industry works. So you're going to turn and say they don't care? It's your perspective, and I understand that, but it doesn't make sense to go after a franchise that's not profitable unless they actually cared about the fans of the franchise. And they need to do what it takes. And the success and the profitability that Shenmue 3 has can guarantee its future. And that's why making money matters. Anyway, Samiam, this project is as big for you as it is for the fans. This is his life's works culminated into a single product. Yes, it is. Basically what I've been saying. So now, moving on, let's go to the next thing I want to talk about. So we've heard from a lot of angry fans. You can scroll to these videos and see what they had to say as well. There were a lot of angry fans there. But there were a couple of there's a video that I watched years ago in 2015. If you know who SuperBunnyHop is, He's an excellent creator that really does a nice analysis on different franchises. One of his favorite franchises is Metal Gear, and that's actually one of my favorite franchises. And I dove into his channel when I saw his Metal Gear videos. I absolutely love them. But then he spoke on the controversy of Shenmue and the early controversy that it had with the PS4 being rumored as what's actually happening with the money. So I want you guys to hear how the video concluded, and I'll put a link to like his channel on the Reupload. But I think it's very interesting what he had to say. Let me make sure you guys can hear this. And I said it. So here it goes. Right from here. Then this is towards the end of his video.
These fans, who love these brands enough to willingly gamble with their money, are doing it by their own volition to make something they want that wouldn't be happening without them. Their money is going exactly where they want it to. What is a valid concern are the mistakes made by the PR and marketing folks in charge of this Kickstarter. Those mistakes are what we can learn from for the future. Fans would feel more comfortable donating to a project that they know needs the money, and by failing to paint an accurate picture of how Shenmue 3 needed that money, due in large part by an inexperienced company not ready for a campaign of this size, they've made it one of the most controversial, rocky, bumbling, and questionable record-smashing successes in recent history.
So I think he hit the nail on the coffin. He hit the nail on the coffin. When was this? July 30th, 2015. That was 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago to the day, that he said something that affects us to this day. He also mentions in this video early on that the company handling their PR or their Kickstarter campaign initially
Awesome Japan is a localization
was Awesome Japan. I haven't heard much of Awesome Japan and what their work was initially when it came to handling the Kickstarter campaign, but that's what they were supposed to do. Handle the PR of the Kickstarter campaign. They haven't had many successes on Kickstarter, so their experience didn't seem to be very developed. And with that lack of development and knowledge and experience when it comes to handling this type of PR, they were put in responsibility of handling one of the most successful video game franchises on Kickstarter in history, Shenmue 3. And right from the get-go, it was having PR problems. And I don't know if it's true fact that it was related to Awesome Japan, but I have a strong feeling that it might be. Or if it changed or if it was upgraded with different people handling it. But at least initially, I think it was initially mishandled, and then of course it didn't get any better from there. So Samian said, Awesome Japan was wholly underprepared for this entire project, but this is also to blame on Cedric Biscay, as he was the biggest factor in helping start the Kickstarter. Yeah. Anyone related to this Kickstarter when it comes to PR is unfortunately to blame. And I know that Cedric has done a lot of positive PR too, but when it comes to these big decisions, it's like no one in the room knew how to relay that to the large audience. And that's unfortunate because they really are trying to relay it as good news. And I work for a major company, and it's unfortunate when working for a major company, a PR campaign is mishandled. And I know that with experience working with a major company, that is so important. There are teams that handle that. So it's a shame. It's an honest shame. But I thought it's interesting that 4 years later, we're still having the same issues. Which brings to mind something else when it comes to who I work for. Back when I mentioned the quartering, one of the things that was mentioned in like one of those comments too is that I there was speculation by one of the commenters that I apparently am getting paid by Epic to do these videos, have Shenmue or anything. And my response to that is this, because I did want to respond to that. If I was getting paid by Epic or YSNet, first of all, I'd be honored. Second of all, that'd be awesome. But I'd also have to disclose that these videos are advertisements. But I'm telling you right now, they're not advertisements. This is me speaking as a fan to everyone here. I could face huge fines, I believe FCC fines if I'm not mistaken, if I'm communicating all of this information to you and not telling you it's an ad. But guess what? It's not an ad. It's my opinion. So if I was working with them, fine me, because I'm not. Just want to clear that up for anyone who thinks that I work with Epic or anything like that. Seems I'm getting hot and bothered with this video. I don't know, but I do actually love conversations. I love like speaking to you guys, everyone on this chat. This is awesome. How many are actually joined us today? It's pretty sick. I'm pretty happy. So thank you all again for joining. I'm not done. I just wanted to get that comment and to let you guys know that this totally means a lot to me. So another thing I wanted to hit was, and this is the last comment section that I wanted to hit, is when you go to a bigger channel, Yang Ye, for example, and again, subscribe to him, he's cool. I scrolled through all of the angry comments, or not all of them because there were tons, but none of them seemed to have anything of any substance. So if you were somebody here wanting to see, well, why didn't you go on a bigger gaming channel's comments, because there would be a lot more anger and I'm only focusing on my videos? Well, no, when you go to these comments, they're either funny or they're just plain negative without any substance. I mean, just in this one row, Dark Flow 23. Seriously, just play any Yakuza game instead of this cash grab. The trailers clearly show how the game will not survive. Then this other comment, Irene, they're not loot boxes, it's surprise mechanics. The developer of Shenmue 3. Hold my sake. Hold my sake. Like, hold my beer comments. Ridiculous comments. This game looks awful. Crowdfunding controversy aside, everything we've seen of the actual game looks bad. All of these comments seem to be coming from people who have no idea what the franchise is about. It's just, oh, the story's about another crowdfunding disaster. Let me make a funny comment and move on. This does not reflect the Shenmue community. So if you want me to go to these larger channels to see what they have to say, they're not saying anything of substance. The people that are leaving comments on true Shenmue sites that are angry are leaving comments with substance. Are leaving comments at least that hint towards why they're angry. But again, it's really hard to understand where the anger comes from in some cases. But to me, it just all makes sense. That's a lot of heat. I am done with this topic. Absolutely done. I will not talk about it anymore because I honestly want to stick to the positive. I wanted the anger to be represented and my responses to that anger. But I think, guys, we should move on from that and move forward. And I'm sorry, I don't know how long I've been going on, pretty much a while, but let's see what the comments are. Was I the only one who felt that the subtitle stretch code was weird and unnecessary? Actually, yeah, I mean, but subtitles cost money and time and Google Translate. Just kidding. They do cost time. Translating is not as easy as it would seem, especially not just translating the text, but also comes into play is that when you're coding different types of text into a game, it's different amounts of characters, different sizes that you can fit of that text, or amount of things that you want to say. Sometimes you have to relate to the culture so it could be understood because it wouldn't translate well. And then, not that it would matter in this case, but they're used to it back in the days of CDs. You'd have to compress that text data just to make it fit on a game. When you deal with Japanese text, for example, you can get a lot of your points across with a smaller number of characters. Whereas in the English language, you'd have to spread it out a lot more, so it takes a lot more data. So in that sense, yeah, it takes time and money to do that. So moving on, I wanted to hit the point of, no, I'm not hitting the Shenmue backer thing, like comments, because again, there weren't really that many that reflected anger lately. It's just a lot of like updates, but I'm scrolling real fast. Lately there has been reward progress report released July 26th, so a couple days ago. So I wanted to touch up on this too as well. So they decided to show some in-game rewards for backer only. So, for example, the telephone cards that only backers would have access to, and these conversations are only available to backers. Again, this money went to develop other things that no one can reach. It's only available to you. So capsule toys that are exclusive to backers, that take the likenesses of backers, are pretty much developed and done. So I like that. That's awesome. We do need to know when the trial version is coming, and I believe that it won't be long before we get our trial version. But it's still something that's coming shortly, and it's still as promised. Everyone else in the media who's played has played a demo, a short demo of it. I don't think what we're getting is a demo. I think we're going to get a full-on expanded trial version that will be separate from what everyone played as a demo. I don't know. I'm only speculating, but it's good that they did release something to the press so that you have something to build anticipation for the game. But they have to make sure that the game is a little bit more fleshed out before they get us to try it and then give our critiques. So now you have likenesses in Lucky Hits. This just blows me away. To actually see backers in Lucky Hit games just blows me away. This is just like, whoever you are who pledged that money, thank you. Thank you for everyone who pledged $5 to the multiple thousands of dollars. That's awesome. So, rows of dreams come true wishing plaques. That's insane. A lot of people had wishing plaques that was dedicated to them, and now they can actually go to the game and actually get them. Backer only jacket for Rio. That's something that only a backer will get. Save Shenmue. Awesome hashtag. Take a look inside. Some kind of nice display table. You see these physical awards, 5,000 plus signed by Yu Suzuki himself, these little trinkets, and then backer exclusive mock-ups. That's what we're getting. This is awesome. I'm so looking forward to this. This is what we paid for, and we're actually getting it. That how could no one will have the ability to authentically have themselves put in Shenmue like they've done for the backers. Sure, someone could mod the game and then just throw themselves in it anyway, but then that's not authentic. That's a hack. To actually be developed in the game, awesome. So excited for that. What's up, James? I didn't see you online too, but it's good to have you here as always. And we gotta talk because I want to do a collab here in the studio if you got time. And then look, the art book prints are finally finalized and ready for the printers. I can't wait for those art books because that's what I pledged for. I definitely wanted those prints, and it's on the table. And now I want to do some type of analysis and zoom in. And if there's anything that I can pull out of it, I might create another video out of it. So, uh, happy, happy console gamer. How dare you say Shenmue sucks? This is an awesome. I don't know. It doesn't suck. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Look at all this stuff that we're gonna get. Turn it on and what is this? The picture does not do the 3D artwork justice, but here's the Crystal Memories reward. I wanted that reward so much. I'm gonna have to do a custom design of that reward for myself, but that looked so awesome, and I definitely wanted to get my hands on that. But it's all out there. You could definitely check out the Kickstarter website. You don't have to be a Kickstarter backer to be able to see what these are, but I'm sure you don't care unless you are a Kickstarter backer to see how your stuff is coming along and how it's going to go from there. But let's see any last minute comments. I wonder if these art books will have any concept art from 1 and 2. I kind of doubt that. I don't know for sure, so my speculation is I think they would want some fresh content, but I'm not sure. I could be totally wrong. Gabriel, Shenmue 1 and 2 rocks. Will Shenmue 3 rule though? Shenmue 3 is, and this will be my final thought, Shenmue 3 is the game that was made for us. For everyone in this chat, for everyone who watches anything related to Shenmue, Shenmue 3 was made for us, and not for anyone that just doesn't care or speak or pay attention to the franchise, because why would it be? So let them go on their merry way. Let's enjoy Shenmue, and let's make sure that it's as successful as it could possibly be. I got the PS4 version in the Kickstarter campaign, but I will get the PC version and support all the add-on content when it comes out too. And I'm hoping that this game will do what we all want it to do, and that's give Sega a reason and give everyone a reason to make Shenmue 4. Anyway, if you like my content, you could, of course, leave a comment after I post this live or continue talking here. But thank you as always. Like, share, and you can make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and we're out. See you guys next time. Take care, and no more controversy.